she had some difficult jobs. Seems like she worked at Middle Technology, she worked somewhere else, and so I thought, wow, so it didn't flash a red light. All right, it's time to get back to work. We've got several sentences, 3 set at 10:30 and 1 set at 11. The first case we're going to address is People versus Christy Elaine Benton. That's you?
Yes.
Miss Benton is here. She's charged with retail fraud in the 2nd degree and filed 251646 SM. She's represented in that case by Jordan Harden. She's also charged and filed 251723 with malicious destruction of property less than $200, and that is Ms. Harden. Mr. Bush represents the defendant in file number 241763, a retail fraud 2nd degree. The 2 matters that are set for sentencing are 1763 and 1723. 1 retail fraud, 1 MDOP. Another retail fraud was dismissed, I think, as part of this. Let me look. No, she pled in that case too. Miss Benton has been here a lot in the last couple of years. And I couldn't figure out. And the last time she was here, I gave her a large jail sentence, which resulted in her losing her job. But I felt it was appropriate. So she got out of jail, and here we are right back in it. So frankly, I needed some help. So I asked for a pre-sentence report, and one has been prepared by Matt Huff, who spent a lot of work on this. And I was embarrassed that I didn't realize the extent of your substance abuse issues. I didn't realize this was heroin and methamphetamine addiction. I thought it was just bad behavior. There are also other factors in here. Anyway, Matt has done an excellent pre-sentence report, which will be a place for us to start from. Ms. Harden, let me hear from you first.
Thank you, Your Honor. As the court has already indicated, Mr. Huff did a very thorough report to kind of highlight what's been going on in Ms. Benton's life as of late. The only update we would provide is that she does have employment. She's working at TH Plastics and has been there about a month. She reports that's going well.
I thought she told me she was employed again.
Yes, so she's working there. Things are going well. She's focusing on her sobriety.
What shift?
3rd.
Okay.
Her partner is here as a good support system, and he's referenced in the report as well as a stable and a constant in Ms. Benton's life. And I think the recommendation that Mr. Huff has provided tackles the things the court's looking in reformation as far as addressing the substance abuse issues, getting a plan for long-term sobriety, as well as addressing the history she's got of the retail frauds. So we're asking the court in our files to follow the recommendation of Mr. Huff. I think it's fair and appropriate. When I met with Ms. Benton at the jail, I believe she was serving time on a retail fraud, and these had occurred prior to that. So I don't believe this is a situation, and I could be mistaken, but it's my understanding these were all that occurred before that sentence. So since she's been released, there's been no issues, and she's appeared for court. She met with Mr. Huff. I think the report, like I said, highlights things that we need to focus on to help Ms. Benton become a productive member of society. I think she's on a good start. So I ask the court to adopt Mr. Huff's recommendation today.
Mr. Bush?
Speaking with Ms. Benton, it's my observation that 30 days in jail was eye-opening for her. There was forced sobriety. She didn't like it there, doesn't want to go back, but that's all what we're looking for. I think Matt Huff was on target here that we need to focus more on reformation than punishment. And I do believe that the probation and the programs that are involved in the pre-sentence report are appropriate. I would ask the court to follow the recommendation.
Ms. Camfield, you've been here, I guess, about 8 months now, 6 months. Soon this will all be part of your history too. But we've been dealing with Ms. Benton for 4 or 5 years. And now you're here and learning this constituency. What's your thought regarding this case?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've had an opportunity to review the files as well as Mr. Huff's report and recommendation. And I note that, people do struggle with addiction and they struggle off and on and have periods of sobriety and then they use again and leads to poor decisions. Reference the request for reformation. It looks like there has been reformation before. She did have probation in 2008 for retail frauds as well. And then she did subsequently serve the jail term this year that Your Honor imposed. I do think that given the honesty and candor of Ms. Benton with her substance use, and some of these she didn't even clearly recall, it's certainly not an excuse for criminal behavior, but an explanation as to why she may have come before the court again in recent years. So I think that the recommendation is appropriate. I would ask that the court follow it. In a circumstance such as this, though, I do find someone of her age and experience level and prior probation has the knowledge to recognize that using again may lead to more criminal action. I might give a couple more days jail up front or some community work service as part of the reformation. She did just serve a pretty lengthy time, so that may have been enough, but community service I think would be appropriate. This does entail a malicious destruction of property as well as retail frauds that have made companies and essentially then their customers victims when retail fraud occurs and prices rise. It goes to the community as a whole. So I just think other than that, the recommendation is more than appropriate.
Mr. Huff, you drew this tough assignment. And I think maybe it's your first time meeting in depth with this defendant. As everyone said, we're going to focus on something, trying to stop the behavior. I'm almost more concerned about the malicious destruction charge than I am the retail frauds. It's weird. She's in this car, which is reported as stolen, and it's reportedly stolen from her current boyfriend.
That's correct.
So he had reported the vehicle as stolen and she was driving it and she had a child in the car and his son pulls up behind her to block her in to get the car back. And then she allegedly bashes into his Mercedes a few times. He realizes there's a child in the car and he moves so she can get out. Now, she and the person that reported the car stolen are back in a relationship, and so it probably isn't exactly stolen. But smacking into his car with that car wasn't a good plan. I'm going to ask you about that, Ms. Benton. Anyway, for a history lesson, when I was prosecutor, I started the embezzler treatment group. Mr. Bush remembers it in its original form because I kept having embezzlements by women and retail fraud and property crimes, credit card fraud, NSF, retail frauds repeated. there was a common theme in that they had childhood trauma that was not addressed. So the embezzler's treatment program was originally primarily set up for women. And I used it a lot when I was the prosecutor, and I felt it was an excellent program. When I became judge, other people were less committed to it. The circuit court didn't use it. And it was for circuit court embezzlements, large $20,000, $30,000 embezzlements. There's a reason why that happens. So we've resurrected it through the court, district court, not community corrections. And it's available. So that's going to get at the root of the question. What I did not understand is the depth of your addiction. You're always so polite, so respectful, so quiet. So I mentioned one time someone paid all your fines and costs, and you just go out and do it again. And I couldn't figure out why you kept doing it. Well, there's two answers: addiction and childhood trauma. Mr. Huff, thank you for your report. Anything you'd like to add to it?
I would just, above what the report says, I would just say that, it looks like Miss Benton, most people get a handle on their addiction or their problematic behavior earlier in life, but I think Miss Benton, from speaking with her, is genuine about where she wants to be. I think she's put forward the vehicle, so to speak, to get to where she needs to be. And I think the 30 days in jail up front was enough to get her attention. Probation would be a good opportunity for some extra accountability over the next year or so to make sure that we just cement into her life a good foundation.
Miss Benton, what would you like to tell me?
I mean, pretty much everything that he says. Jail was a definite wake-up call. I mean, it's embarrassing. I think I just, I want to get over the substance abuse, and I just think probation is gonna keep me held accountable to be able to get there.
I think so too. What were you doing when you were bashed into this kid's car with your boyfriend's car?
Well, I mean, he had pulled up behind me, but I never bashed into it. There was a backup cam in the car, and I did have a little girl with me. And he was parked far enough behind me that when I backed up in little bit at a time, I never backed into the car.
Well, did your car hit his car?
No.
Pled no contest to that charge. The case I sent you to jail for, I did in August of 2025. It occurred in 2024. I sent you to jail on August 25th for 30 days. The MDOP is listed as having occurred on August 4th. So that was before you went to jail. The retail fraud in 1763 is listed as 6/8 of 25. And the other one is 6/28 of 25. So these occurred while you were on bond on the earlier one, but before you went to jail. So I gave you 30 days in jail, then these things came up. Now, what do I do now? Matt, as far as I can tell, with all of this, she only has 1 day of jail credit, is that correct?
it's a little bit sticky in regards to what you want to consider for, I think you have a lot of discretion in this situation. Because she was placed in probation, bond wasn't set in these, or wasn't posted in these until a few days before she was released from custody on the 30-day charge that she was already serving. So, there could be some credit, so to speak, because she was released and there was a bond set. But
Okay,
essentially, those 30 days were set on the other case.
all right. Well, I'm gonna do the probation in the retail fraud case. I organized my judgments so well that I don't have any general judgments, but I'll use this one. I have a couple, I have 2 left. In the MDOP case, 251723, I'm gonna order 1 day as a no contest plea. One day credit, 1 day, 0 fines and costs. Concurrent with the other cases.
Which file was that, Your Honor?
That was in
Uh,
251723. She pled to retail fraud second in 251646. She pled to retail fraud second in 1767. And I don't need to put her on probation on both of those cases. We're gonna do the probation on an offense that has a 1-year maximum. So,
Which file is that, Your Honor?
the next one we're going to address is the retail fraud second that you represent her on, Mr. Bush.
And she pled to retail fraud third in that file.
Third, that's what I've marked here. And except I can't read my own writing, but yeah, it's third, 1767. So I'm going to do the probation on the 1-year offense. One 767. One 763. I'm gonna also do 1 day jail credit, 1 day. Concurrent with the other retail fraud, which is 251646. There is restitution, which will be included. Um, One of the reasons why I never got clued into the addiction was that she was always working. She had some difficult jobs. Seems like she worked at Middle Technology, she worked somewhere else, and so I thought, well, so it didn't flash a red light. We're gonna do the probation in Miss Hardin's case, 251646. Laura, could I have some more general judgments? This is my very last one. There's no sense making you lose another job. I think I made my point with the first 30-day sentence. And these all preceded that sentence. I'm not gonna do it. Well, I guess I will. I'm gonna do a 24-month probation, which means you're gonna be on probation for at least 12 months. I guess I'll order 91 days, credit 1, leaving 90 days to serve. Of the 91 days ordered, 90 are deferred. I'm not gonna put you back in jail, make you lose another job that you just got. But you're gonna do a probation. The fine is 0. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee. I'm just gonna charge 1 attorney fee. $960 probation oversight fee. The restitution figure is in the report.
Do you need it separated by file number? Or are you comfortable with both files?
I'll just, what's the number?
It's
367,
62,
362
yeah,
30.
to Walmart and Myers. Thank you. All right, no drugs and no alcohol, substance abuse treatment as tested. This one actually has the embezzlers group on it. It's a very good class. I had 100% approval rating. The people that were in it all said it was very worthwhile. You can't keep going like this, Miss Benton. You're wise enough to know that. You got a stable influence in your life, which you didn't have. So I'm encouraged here. Let's add those numbers up. 125 plus 150 plus 960 plus 362.30 is 1,597.30. take $480 off it if you do this in a year, so you owe about $1,100. Is there a cost for the embezzler's class?
There is, I don't know exactly what the current rate is and if it's going to go up for the 2026 year.
Excuse me. At one time, I used community correction money to pay for it. But that was a different time. I was chairman of the Community Corrections Advisory Board for 35 years, and now Judge Stutzman has that privilege, but I want you to stay on the path you're on. And again, you're wise enough to know it. The other option is a long jail sentence and then death. Nobody wants that. Problem is you can't shop anywhere. You got kicked out of all the stores and then I barge. I guess you can shop at some stores, but you can't go to Walmart or Myers during the term of this probation. The community service idea was a good one, but you got enough to do. You're also to sign a release if we need information. All right, let's hope things get better from here. All right, Ms. Benton, you go downstairs and Matt will meet with you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please do let us know in the comments what you thought of this video. If you'd like to support what we do here, the best way to do it is to pick up some of our merch. You can find it at courtroomfiles.com.